Hello everyone, welcome to another session on introducing literature, and this is like part 3 of our module 2 discussions. In this session we are going to discuss about the concept called mixed point of view. Your text in fact says that there is a concept called mixed points of view. It is there. So before we get into the concept called polyphony, we have to look into the concept called mixed point of view. And in this session, in this part called mixed point of view, there are 3 works that are there for you to study. Okay, one is a novel Home Fire by a Pakistani writer, okay, and by the name of the writer is Kamila Shamsi. And another one is a very famous work, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. And the third work is in fact a film by Akira Kurosawa. He is a very famous filmmaker, okay, from Japan. And his most famous, most important work is Rashomon. So this is that work. I will give you the link of that movie in the description box. So I want all of you to watch the movie for a better understanding of this particular concept called mixed point of view. Okay, mixed point of view is in fact polyphony itself. We'll see, we'll look into that. So the first part, and these are the 3 things that I'm going to discuss. The first part is about the novel Home Fire by Shamsi. I have already told you about that. She's a Pakistani writer. So Kamila Shamsi is in fact through the novel is trying to portray the story of Sophocles' Antigone. Okay, but it is said from the perspective of 5 characters. That is a speciality of the book. So we have 5 characters like Isma, Imon, Parviz, Anika and Karamat. So these are the 5 characters, and the 2 chapters are seen through the eyes of 4 characters and 1 of Anika. So that is how in fact trying to reimagine the story, okay, in the contemporary times, the story of Antigone in the contemporary times through these characters. So how exactly she deals with it is that she has dedicated 2 chapters each for 1 character, okay, and for Anika there is only 1 chapter. So through same for the same concept or for the same story, how exactly it is identified or how exactly it is looked at by different characters. Okay, so you can see that one such example, not exactly third person omniscient narrative, not exactly mixed point of view, but so far we were listening to the story of Mahabharata from the eyes of some omniscient limited character, or you can say from the side of one particular character, and rarely we have seen the story through the eyes, through the fall and the rise and fall of Bhima, who was the second among the Pandavas. So that is in fact there in one of the Malayalam novel. So likewise there are certain constantly seen at spaces there. So the moment when you look from some other angle, okay, you will understand like the nuances of or you can say the different aspects that has to be discussed or that have to be discussed from, or you can say from some familiar stories. We know the story of Othello, okay. So it's basically about the emotions of Othello himself. So what exactly is the point of view, could be the point of view from of the same book from the side of Iago or from the side of Desdemona. You're getting it. When the entire play is identified from the side of Desdemona, it's a different read. You're getting it. So right now we have started going for such different reads. So and here also you can see, even in the book even in the play Othello, it's basically an Englishman is looking at a Moorish or you can say a Moor, okay, called Othello. There is like he is in fact looking down upon Othello. Okay, so what exactly is that real feelings of that a Moor, you can say a black man to a great extent. So how exactly he could feel it, all these things are like, you can say the different ways in which, you can interpret a same story. So that is what is we are going to see, we are seeing in Home Fire. If you get the book, go through it. It's like it's a good attempt, to understand like this different versions that are in fact available around us, rather than going for one single narrative, be it history. It is said by thinkers like Ramachandra Guha and all. They say that, even the narrative of Indian independence struggle, okay, it is like a single narrative, or you can say it is an elitist narrative, okay. But it has got very many versions that are there. So we'll discuss that. We'll keep it aside for some later discussion. So this mixed perspective enables the novelist, I'm on page number 55, to offer nuanced, okay, means some subtle kind of variations are even made available, balanced view of the tangled issues of love. Tangled means something that is confused. Issues of love, jihadism, and of mixed loyalties to the family, nation, and one's religious faith. All these issues are in fact dealt extensively in the book, and the perspective which a writer chooses for his story is determined by what his reasons are in writing the book. Okay, so what exactly determine, what are the factors that determine the perspective of the writer upon writing a story? One is like his reasons, his or her reasons in writing the book, why exactly he or she has decided to write the book. Second one, how he or she wants his or her story to develop, how to develop, how exactly the writer wants to develop the story. That is the second point. And this in turn would come to have a bearing on meaning and worldview of the text. And these two factors, why exactly the person is writing the story and how exactly the story is being developed by the writer, these two things are in fact have a kind of bearing on the meaning and worldview of the text. The meaning that is getting represented, the worldview that is getting portrayed through the text is in fact being determined by these two factors. So mark that, it is very important. Now every character in the story in fact gives us a number of ideas. Okay, so yes, of course, something that is wanted to be discussed by the writer, that is there. But you can see that despite that, the discussions that are being given to us by the writer, despite that, you can see that there are so many discussions that are in fact happening in a novel or in a work for that matter. Now the second one is the example of a Nigerian novelist, Chinua Achebe's his debut novel Things Fall Apart. It employs a third person point of view, third person omniscient point of view, which in fact focuses more on the protagonist Okonokwa, but you can see that there are so many other different voices that are also available, okay, that are also being heard, that actually find a kind of space in this narrative. Okay, so that is another aspect that you can say. And the critics have identified this particular work of Chinua Achebe. From that we'll move on to the discussions on polyphony. Refer to the video in the description box, and then we'll continue.